Okay, hey everybody, this is Brett, and I just wanted to do a quick market update for everybody. I'm on my way down to Miami for a little R&R. Markets are starting to move, things are starting to look really good here, and I want to take a look at some of what we're looking at and some of the metaverse tokens starting to run here finally. So here's a chart of ETH. We see on a weekly chart time frame the 21 and 50 day EMA starting to cross over. Looks great, one of my favorite signals in all of trading, and when I add this, all my other indicators are going to appear there. So I already had that circle. Just to unpack what we're looking at here is some potential take profit targets just based on a Fibonacci retracement from the market cycle high down to the low. These are not buy or sell recommendations, just some ideas looking at the fib levels and the prior cycle high. So Ethereum, potentially goes up to 15,000 this cycle. This, again, not financial advice, but on a 3.618 fib retracement, that is possible, as we saw on Bitcoin. And I believe we looked at last time, that is exactly what happened on the last market cycle. So if I take this out of the way, we are clearly in a new upward trend channel, very important. Getting to the top of this trend channel, I do think we push up to 48K, 50K, and then see some kind of a pullback, and something like this probably would be most likely. But that 48K, 50K golden pocket, very likely to hit. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about there, let's just put the Fibonacci on from the market cycle high down to the low. And you see this little sliver here, that's 0.618, between 0.618 and 0.65, otherwise known as that golden pocket level. So I do think we push up, touch on that, maybe wick up to it, come back down. Like to see it come back down around 38K. There is an unfilled CME gap there that people aren't really talking about, but that would be, this would land right down on this area on inside the uptrending channel. I think it would be an excellent place to DCA back into these markets, and we can look at a couple other things here in a moment. But to finish the thought a minute ago on why these could go to the 3.618 levels, if we go back to the 2018 high and go to the bottom there, and we stretch that out, so the market cycle high this last cycle pushed right up to that 3.618. So we've done some advanced studies on that, even for sort of foretelling the next market cycle bottom. Based on that, if you haven't seen the last video, go ahead and check that out. So I think we did that last week. And just to sort of continue on with that with ETH, same kind of thing with ETH. 3.618 was the high from this high low. So it has been very significant here. So same thing with Ethereum. Market cycle high, the market cycle low back in 2018, pushed up to the 3.618 right to the high of last year, just under 5,000. I think it did wick up to 5,000 or just shy of it. So that's why 15,000 ETH is in the cards. And if that's the case, and you believe, as many do, that Solana could be worth 20% of ETH going into the future, 20% of Solana is 3,000. So I've done a similar study here on Solana showing how we could potentially get up to $3,000 Solana, again, from the market cycle high of the last area to the low, pushing up to the 3.618 puts us right at here. Well, that puts us at 1,000 for Solana, and the extension of that based on this trend line, we could see, not saying it will, but it's possible, push up here to that 3,000 level, which would be a 40x from current prices. So Solana looks like a good one to have in the bags. We had originally recommended Solana at $35 back on August 1st of 2021. Recommended to buy on that on a pullback. It did pull back, hit 35, and never looked back until the bear market came around, of course. So what I'm looking for in a lot of these coins, and you might want to also draw in your charts, are these 21 and 50 week crossovers here, as we're starting to see. Ideally, I'd like to see a pullback to these, but in a strong, explosive bull market, we may not see that. We may just see these things push up much higher from here. Let's see, Compound also sort of languishing, not quite there. I'd like to see it get back above this level, so I have alerts above 55. But Chainlink looking strong and is above those levels. I'd like to see a pullback here, but these are coins long-term, have a lot of potential. One AI coin called ALI that we like has been pushing up nicely on this weekly chart and coming off this 15.015 cents. So this has nearly doubled since then. And a number of other ones we won't go through. Wanted to mostly talk about the overall markets. So let's take a look at that CME gap so you guys are aware. And that is going to be right here. So I just snuck in there. We were so excited the markets were going higher, but we have this little CME gap here. Typically these fill, so we'd be looking for a retracement right down, as I said, to this sort of 39,000 level. So that would still keep us in the uptrending channel, which would be good. Love to see a pullback here. And even if it came below and bounced off support again on this 21-week rising EMA, that would be great. But the important thing to keep in mind is not to panic. We're in an uptrending channel, and that's the good news. So that's pretty much all I wanted to update you guys on. The total market cap looking strong, pushing up. It is due for a bit of a pullback here, though. I would not be chasing these markets necessarily. I'd have some powder dry for any pullbacks as an ideal time to sort of get into these markets, but I do think we're pushing higher. And as you see, again, that 21 and 50 week moving average crossing, and but probably some resistance there at this level on the total market cap. So what would invalidate that, however, is if it can spike up higher above this 1.6 trillion and come back down and retest it. That's going to firmly put this in place for another bigger bounce, and we'd love to see that. A lot of money flowing in to these markets ahead of the now what's considered 99% approval probability for the BlackRock ETF and possibly others. Some mixed opinions there. Do they all get approved? Is it just BlackRock, as Mark Yusko is saying? We'll see. But either way, it isn't fully priced in. Now, if for some reason, and just so you're aware, if some reason they do not get approvals, expect to see a sell-off initially. And I would look at that as a great buying opportunity. So what we're looking at here, though, is a nice cup and handle breakout as well. If you visualize the cup right here and the handle right in here around this 1.3 trillion breaking out. So I love that cup and handle pattern, which we're seeing on quite a few of the various charts. So just a quick look at Bitcoin dominance, and Bitcoin dominance heading higher, which we'd expect to see. Have a bit of a sell-off here in Bitcoin dominance. So money rotating into altcoins. Started to see that. Not really showing up in ETH dominance or Tether, but in terms of the altcoins, seeing some nice appreciation. Starting to tick up here on the crypto total market cap, excluding Bitcoin. So this is where you can see money's flowing in, but it's not Bitcoin. It's flowing into ETH and all the alts. And so what's very bullish about this chart here is, again, that 21 crossing over the 50-week EMA. Very bullish. And I would expect to see further upside. So that's all I have time for, you guys. I think we talked about everything except for maybe Helium coin, which is another one that one of our favorites. We had originally recommended this back in July of 2021. Great project with a lot of utility. And what they came out with, the reason this spiked is that Helium, if you're not familiar, is allowing people to put modems and miners in their house to power the Internet of Things. Think your smart TV, your refrigerator, all these things that communicate together. Instead of putting a giant cell phone tower in the neighborhood, it's going to have peer-to-peer networking through these modems, and you can earn tokens on that. There's a lot of adoption. If you go to the Helium Explorer, you can see there's only 367,000 of these in the world and growing. But the big news this week is Helium announced a partnership with T-Mobile to provide mobile services, and also partnering with Solana, since Helium is now on the Solana blockchain. So Helium, one to watch, pushed up here. This is hitting one of our early take profit zones around $5. Ideally, again, see some kind of a pullback. We may not get that, but ideally pull back around this $3, $4 range and be ready for the next push higher, because I think Helium has quite a bit of upside in the long run, and it's one to keep an eye on. So that's all we have time for today. Hope you guys have a great week. Oh, I did want to show you one other thing, actually, for some dubious speculation, as Ben Cowan calls it. And so we were playing around with the Pi Cycle Top Indicator. And so, by the way, this is a graphic here, and this is a study I've done on TradingView. You can find me at Brett Fogel on there, and it's just a various, pontifications on the market. But so this is a chart of the Pi Cycle Top, which these are two separate indicators. One of them gives a red indicator there. The other is the actual crossover of the two moving averages. I believe it's a 111-day or 111 period over the 350 times 2. It's some convoluted formula. You don't need to know what it is, but what's important is the Pi Cycle Top Indicator has called all of the past market cycle tops back here in 2013, again in a little bit later in 2013, and then December of 2017, here again in 2021. I remember when these crossed back here, and I thought to myself, the pi cycle type has to be wrong. We are going to 100,000 this, and I doubted it, but it was right. So the top was here. You might be saying, well, Brett, isn't this the top? No, this is the up thrust after distribution. If you follow the Wyckoff patterns, it was a fake out. It was a bear market rally to get everyone back in the market so that big money and the whales could sell to the retail traders like you and I. So this was the actual top. What we'll be looking for is the next top. So just pontificating out and pushing this out and visualizing it here around this area. So this is about the same time frame from the prior ones and the early drop. The time frame about the same. But what I'm looking at is, just imagine these are going to curve up. The yellow one is a faster moving average. The green is a little slower. So somewhere in this area, which is going to be down here. Let me hit the play button so you can see where we're at on the dates. I can't see it on this because it's a published study. Puts us around May, April, May. So going into the halving, it's still possible we see a massive run up into this area and we see the next peak around May or April. I know nobody's telling us that, but it is still certainly possible. We had that study where I overlaid the chart pattern from back in here when things went vertical, put it on the existing charts, and that would put us right in that area, potentially 100,000, 155,000 Bitcoin, and in this case, puts us right around 211,000. If you look at my video last week, I did a study on how I think the next market cycle high could be and likely will be 212,000 Bitcoin based on that 3.618 fib projection. If we wanted to do that real quick so you can follow along, let's just do that together. I'll clean up a chart here. I do have it on here actually already. So again, as we saw in the last cycle, market cycle high to low put us to 3.618 in the last cycle. That was the top around 69,000. So if we do it again here, let me just take off the other fib retracement to make it easier to see. Not that one, this one. So if we do it from this recent high to low, the 3.618 puts us right at around 200,000. It's a little bit jiggly, wonky. When I really fine tune it, it gets us right up to around that 212 level, and there are 210,000. So these are my levels in this next bull run. I think 100,000 likely, 155,000 is probable. I think we probably get there, and that 210,000 is likely. Starting to hear some other people give similar targets, but I've been saying this for months now, and so we'll see what happens. Anyway, have a great weekend, everybody. And if you like the content, make sure to hit like and subscribe and let us know what you think down in the comments. Little public service announcement also. We will never reach out for anybody's information. Lots of scammers in the comments, so just ignore those, please. All right, guys. Take care. Thanks, everyone.